Listen, if you thought the Toronto Raptors were too good to catch the Memphis Grizzlies in the tank race for a bottom 6 record, I got news for you. Let's get into it in tonight's post-game show. All right, guys. 12:36 a.m. Eastern Time at the time of recording here. The Raptors just lost in overtime to the Portland Trail Blazers, 128-118. How can that be? Overtime? They lost by 10 points. Well, the Raptors, valiant effort, I suppose. They were down by 21 points to the Portland Trail Blazers tonight. Ended up coming back, forcing overtime with a Chris Boucher tip-in that goes in with 0.7 seconds remaining. And they get to overtime where they're rewarded with, within 5 seconds, DeAndre Ayton scored an alley-oop layup, and the Portland Trail Blazers run away with it. The Raptors, in 5 minutes of overtime, score 5 points and lose again by double digits here to the Portland Trail Blazers. So, we'll call it what it is. It was overtime. Yeah, they got to overtime. They fought back from 21 points down. The Grand Inquisition will be, how the hell do you allow the Portland Trail Blazers to take a 21-point lead against you? Props to you. You fought back. You didn't have Barnes today. You didn't have Pirtle today. You didn't have Bruce Brown again today. You also didn't have RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett missed this game through illness. He was a late scratch. Not sure completely if that's a tank decision or an RJ's actually sick decision, but didn't look like he was on the bench, so I don't know what to make of that. But the Portland Trail Blazers here, they're on the second night of a back-to-back. They're missing Shaedon Sharpe. They're missing Jeremy Grant, among other players. DeAndre Ayton was not 100%. Simons was not 100%. Even with all this shit, the Raptors were still favored here. And they continue to just showcase that, man, they are really, really bad here. As bad as they are, though, there's just absolutely no way they should be this bad. They were down. The Raptors led 2-0 in this game out the gates. That's it. That's the only time they led. They led 2-0. Portland led 38-18 at one point. They led by 21 points in the second quarter as well. How do you allow Anthony Simons, Chris Murray, Dalano Banton, who the Raptors let walk in the summer, Toumani Camara, and DeAndre Ayton? How do you let this team run wild against you? Everybody on Portland was dominating tonight. So many guys in Portland put up monster numbers. Sure, you can talk about the guys that are missing for the Raptors, but they still have Emmanuel Quickley. They still have Gary Trent. They've still got solid pieces. I get they're undermanned, and this was a pretty ugly watch, but any excuse the Raptors throw at it, the Portland could have the same excuse, and the Raptors came out so flat and end up crumbling overall, losing 128-118. So, I'm not asking for the world with this team. I'm not suggesting that, they're a great team. I know they're a bad team. I know they're missing guys, but those only go so far. Those excuses only go so far. Props to the Raptors. They came back in the second half, made it a game, went to overtime, but so much this season, they put themselves in a hole. They've game planned poorly. They've come out flat, and it burns them. And this game is just another example as such. So it's becoming a theme. Somehow I made it through this one. I'm sure a lot of Raptors fans, maybe even you watching this right now, are thinking like, oh, wow, they actually made overtime. I turned the game off. Like, yeah, I don't blame you. It's an ugly game overall. I just watched Gary Trent Jr. shoot the fucking basketball 26 times. You have any idea what that's like? Gary Trent Jr. shot the basketball 26 times. You know how many points he had on 26? 2-6. Doesn't even feel like a real number. You know how many points Gary Trent Jr. had on 26 field goal attempts? 23. Yeah, if you shoot the ball 26 times, you better have 23 points if you shoot the ball 26 fucking times. That's for damn sure. So, it's ugly. It's bad. But again, I mean, if you thought this team can't catch the Grizzlies in a tank race, you are mistaken. 1 game up on the Grizzlies. 3 losses in a row for the Raptors. This provides them a 32% chance at a top 4 pick. Therefore, a 32% chance of keeping their pick because it's a 7th worst record. You cannot get the 6th or the 5th pick. But, yeah, they could still finish under the Grizzlies. You know, after all the things that went well in that Phoenix Suns game, it's disappointing that a lot of it kind of crumbles in this game here. So let's look at the individual numbers overall. You know, Kelly Olynyk had a much better game. He hasn't been shooting the ball well for the Raptors, but he did tonight. 3 of 4 from 3, 8 of 6, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 15 points. Gary Trent, this is how many times he shot the ball. This is how many points he had. That's it. Quickly, 10 of 21, 7 assists, 29 points. Again, Quickly continues to thrive, even with the shit moat that surrounds him. Abaji struggled. Definitely didn't play well. 2 of 7 here. But is Ochai Abaji worse than Jalen McDaniels? Probably not still. Grady Dick, not his best night. 8 points, 2 of 7 from 3. Chris Boucher, another good night. 16 points, 8 rebounds. Had the tip in at the buzzer, pretty much to tie the game, sends OT. 3 blocks as well. In the doghouse, you got to wonder with all these players, people wondering, Darko, what's he working with? He's got all these bad players. What do you expect? Well, Boucher is clearly a capable, talented player who was in the doghouse for like 2 months. 3 games in a row he's played. 3 games in a row. 2 games in a row he's played. 2 games in a row he's played pretty well. Jordan Nwora, decent, but for some reason didn't get a ton of minutes. Freeman Liberty, decent again in his minutes. Jalen McDaniels, 25 minutes. 10 rebounds, I get it. 2 steals, I get it. I don't know. To me, Jalen McDaniels doesn't do much. I don't really see the need, even in this state, to even give him any minutes, especially over Ochai Abaji. Overall, Portland shot the ball well all game. They dominate the possession battle. They get 18 offensive rebounds to the Raptors' 9. I guess that's bound to happen, but the Raptors turn the ball over 20 times. That's crazy. Like, you just can't do that. Dalano Banton, 25 points in this game. Yeah, Raptors fans will be a little bit upset about that. Ultimately, the Dalano Banton thing. You know, I don't want to go on a long wind and talk about Dalano Banton here, but in short, he's a player that typically struggles to create advantages. Not a great initiator as a passer or a ball handler. Has been playing well with the Blazers. You know, don't know if that's something that's sustainable long term. But I don't look back on that decision to let him walk and regrettably say, like, they let him walk. But the only thing I will say that in hindsight, looking back on the situation, probably should have traded him to the Spurs at the deadline in that Pirtle trade if they weren't going to use him. But yeah, on has this Raptors game in general here, it was a rough watch. Even with them coming back, this was ugly. I think this is game 64 for the Raptors. It was ugly. It was a pretty tough watch overall. But I think we're going to get a lot of that for the rest of this season. It's just kind of fighting through the rest of the season, getting over the finish line. Like people saying the Raptors should still be pushing for the playoffs. It's not the majority of Raptors fans anymore, but man, if you're a team that wants to make the playoffs and you can't even beat the Portland Trail Blazers, you probably shouldn't be a team trying to make the playoffs. 6 games back of the Atlanta Hawks now. Yeah, it's ugly, and it's going to be ugly to finish the season. Hopefully at some point they commit to a tank, but maybe even today they committed to a tank with R.J. Barrett being a late scratch. Who knows? Time will tell what the plan is for the team, but I stand on the same stance I was even before Barnes got injured. Yeah, tanking is probably the right move for this team. And again, as I started, I'll finish with what I started with. If you think this team can't catch the Grizzlies in the tank race, well, I think you're mistaken. That'll do it for this one, this post-game show. If you enjoyed, smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel for content like this for every Raptors game. And I'll see you again at the next one. We keep on doing this. We keep on battling through this. And the Raptors, well, the reward for this loss against the Portland Trail Blazers, next up, they're in action on Monday. They're in action on Monday, yes, against the Denver Nuggets in Denver. Double-digit loss to the Portland Trail Blazers. 41-point loss at home to the New Orleans Pelicans. And the reward, you go away to the Denver Nuggets. That'll be ugly.